Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and recently I received a comment that asked me if I thought that the Fender Custom Shop Journeyman Relic was really an accurate kind of aging process compared to other guitars that had no aging from the factory and have let it happen naturally through the years. And I thought I got two perfect specimens for this kind of video. We're going to start with the aforementioned Journeyman Relic Telecaster Custom, and then we're going to look at this American Vintage 65 Jazzmaster that didn't have a single scratch on it when I received it. I do want to specify one thing though before we get started. We're only talking about aesthetics today. This, outside of any aging or no aging, and God, I wish it didn't have any, but is one of the best Telecasters I've ever played in my life. So we're going to put this on one of the stands, have a close look, and compare. Alright, starting off with the Telecaster. From far away, this actually looks like a really clean guitar, and that's part of the reason why I was okay with getting a factory Relic, because it wasn't too over the top. What you're going to find is a lot of checking, which is going to vary in how visible it is depending on the angle of the light here. We'll do just little spins, and I'll do some zooming in and zooming out in the editing process so you can get an idea here. But outside of that, you have what appears to be some sort of screwdriver mark. I don't know how that could have gotten there. A little bit weird. And yeah, just scattered ones all around the bottom of the guitar as well. Kind of weird, but no actual paint being rubbed off or anything like that, which, I don't know, that's pretty cool for me, I suppose. We flip it to the side, you're going to see the same thing as far as the checking go. This is aged very heavily as far as the hardware itself. That's the same thing kind of here, but we do have the Callahan brass saddles installed on this guitar. To the back of the instrument, more of the same. You can expect some buckle rash a little bit on most guitars that you've been playing over the years, but with this one, not really a thing. More of these kind of just like small, almost screwdriver pokes on the finish. It's really strange to look at. And then at the base of the guitar on the bottom here, there is a little bit of the finish that has started to go down to bare wood. Other than that, you got your string thimbles that are extremely worn. All the hardware on this guitar is worn pretty heavily. And checking out the side of the instrument, it's more of the same, just little dents, little strange dents all over the guitar. Alright, now looking at the Jazzmaster's body itself, you can notice the checking is way more pronounced on this guitar than it was on the Telecaster. This guitar has seen some stuff in its day, but the hardware is still extremely clean. I don't go out of my way to polish it perfectly or anything like that, but it's lived up really well and held up over the years. Not so much as terms of kind of screwdriver-ish things, because I've never taken a screwdriver to this guitar despite me having multiple headaches with it. Yeah, just little kind of on the sides, it feels like there's way more damage on this guitar than there was on the Telecaster, which to me makes a little bit of sense. Sitting in stands and stuff like that and getting moved around, that would be the places where I would expect, and obviously where it has aged on its own. What I do find interesting is I learned a little bit about myself as a player through this guitar, because right there, that spot on the bottom, I always rest my forearm when I'm sitting with it in that spot. So it is worn off the paint specifically right there. And I think that's kind of cool. I've noticed it with a few other guitars as well that have had that happen. But yeah, you learn a little bit about your own playing style and tendencies as you own a guitar with a proper nitro finish like this one. And on the back, the wear is a little bit different as well. You do have more of this checking, but I'm not really a buckle rash guy because I don't wear kind of big bulky belts when I go out and I play. paint checking off from here, from obviously having the truss rod adjustment, because it's at the base of the neck on this Jazzmaster. So over the years of having the truss rod adjusted, there's a bit of the paint that's gone astray, and potentially that might be part of the reason why we see some of this checking going on from there. Maybe one of those times it was over tightened a little bit. These thin skin nitro finishes can be extremely sensitive. So I guess with the Fender Custom Shop, some of those dents and divots are somewhat realistic, just this hasn't had it in the same way. Oh God. Yeah, this has taken a serious licking in this section of the guitar there. Yep, that's from clunked on stands like that, right on that corner. My goodness though. And now as far as the neck goes, because these also come aged from the factory in the Custom Shop, not a lot of wear up here. I'm not really a cowboy chord kind of player. That's to be expected. These two divots, I remember exactly how I got these. This was played at a surf show in San Diego, California, and yeah, I kind of had a little bit of an accident with a bottle cap opening beer, and yeah, just stuff happens when you drink and you play. You probably shouldn't do that. Take it from me. Other than that, if we flip to the other side here, a little bit of a wear on this. I'm not sure how much of that is just straight up dirt, but nothing too crazy as far as the finish itself wearing. And then finally, just for our actual reference of the back of the neck, just a little bit of dirt. That's it. No real aggressive wearing. Now, comparing that with the Telecaster, it looks like this was simulated to be a cowboy chord player, because there's a lot of kind of paint fade right around here, rather nitrocellulose coming off to show some of that bare wood. If we go to the other side, flip it. Yeah, it looks like we have the same exact thing in the same spot between frets 2 and 3, almost exactly between those two contained. Let me double check that. Is that exactly the same way there too? No, it bleeds up a little bit more. I would have been like, that's kind of strange. But outside of that, I mean, it looks really clean. If you take those two spots of wear away from it, it's pretty dead on for how the Jazzmaster has gone. And last but not least, the headstock itself. The face of it is really clean. As I spin it, you see a little bit of damage, well, wear up there. And then on the back, nothing too crazy. That's actually a little bit more than I thought, right adjacent to the custom logo itself. And then on a Jazzmaster, outside of the fact that you can see that I was using a snark tuner here and there for a while when I was playing this guitar, it looks dead on mint from the front. Side, not nearly as dinged up. Back, pretty common. I mean, and the tuners look fantastic too. I realize that the Custom Shop Telecaster is trying to emulate a guitar from the 60s, but not nearly as aggressively aged. Alright, if you've made it this far into the video, I will acknowledge this was a simply impossible task. Everybody sits with the guitar differently. Everybody has different kind of tendencies when they play and how they play, how they pick. All those little things will add up to how your guitar will wear and where it will wear over time. Dings, they're gonna happen, period, as we saw on the Jazzmaster's neck. It's got some pretty gnarly ones in that. However, with that being said, is it accurate? Is it believable? Yeah, I would say so. The checking is something that is going to universally happen with these Fender guitars, given different kind of climates, being exposed to different grains of humidity, temperature changes. All that stuff can play a factor in it, especially if you're playing a guitar outside for festivals and gigs, which this guitar has done several times. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So with this guitar having that, I believe that. I think they did a pretty good job with that. I just find it strange, the random kind of simulated. It feels like they take a screwdriver and just poke at these guitars. And I don't know, man. It's not the most unrealistic thing. Again, we saw some instances on this guitar where it does have some similar kind of things going on, but I would love to be a fly on the wall in the Fender Custom Shop and just watch somebody do this and kind of get in their head why they're doing it in certain spots and how deep they want to make these divots or cuts or paint fades. It's just, I don't know, man. It's a bit above and beyond for me. However, I think it's still believable. Not all relic jobs from all manufacturers are, and that includes Fender as well, but I feel like if you're somebody who does not mind having a relic guitar and you like custom colors, that's one of the biggest problems with the Fender Custom Shop. Finding a new old stock double bound Telecaster in a classic color at a reasonable price used, that's very difficult. The ones that come new old stock are typically over the top sparkle finishes. Like my buddy Joe has a sparkle purple one. I've seen sparkle green, sparkle silver, all sorts of things like that. Matching headstocks, very Las Vegas kinds of things. But as far as a traditional Telecaster like you expect from an American Vintage, or now the American Vintage 2, it's not something you see very often used available at a good price from the Fender Custom Shop, or even new for that matter. And I realize how strange this is about the sound because it is so obvious, but this doesn't feel as dear or as close to me as the Jazzmaster does because of it. It has aged in places and in ways that I would never have had it happen, and obviously haven't had it happen. I have a few other guitars that have aged over time. They're all strikingly similar in the areas that they have their wear and tear to that Jazzmaster. I just thought that it was the most applicable kind of comparison here, but doesn't make it any less of a great player. Doesn't make it any less of an amazing sounding guitar. It's just for aesthetics, and yeah, I guess it's all about your own preference at the end of the day. If this was a heavy relic, I don't think I could have done it though. Just throwing that out there. If there's anything you'd like me to tackle or any questions that you have about pretty much anything regarding the world of music or guitars, I'll be happy to do my best to do what I did for this video and provide you some sort of video kind of response or explanation if I am able to do so. If not, enjoy the videos anyway. If you enjoyed this one, you can leave a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about relic finishes. Do you prefer factory done? That way you don't have to worry about that first ding or any sorts of other problems that might come in the future, or doing it the old school way on your own naturally like the Jazzmaster did. Let me know down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody.